I'll
Kenneth.
phone him.
Kenneth. So
Always first in chat, isn't he?
love it, bloody love it. KDL. I thought of you, KDL, at the gym. Do you know why? I wrote RDL on the whiteboard. I thought of KDL, RDL. Of course, Romanian deadlifts is all the rage in Romania. That's all they do.
I'm gonna mute myself for 2 seconds.
Okay, I'll just chat to Kenneth and whoever the other person is in the chat. You video called him Mason. So yeah, big guest today. One of our biggest, quite literally, physically. All right, Standy, you stand alone in my thoughts.
Andy's very excited for Jake's show with Mason today.
Is she? My
Yeah.
it's our
I
show.
know. I told her she was blocked for saying it.
Right. See,
And then it says, well, actually, no, because then we'd only have 2 listeners.
I got my whiteboard behind me for the light. It fits in beautifully there. Sandy, how are you? Oh, here he is. Granite. Granite. What have we been up to? What's the crack, everyone? So it is Sunday. It's 6 p.m. here. Don't know what time it is. What's the time where you are? Welcome to Outside the Box here on YouTube channel.
Grant's been a busy boy.
Is he? Oh, he's making lit. Oh, right. I see. Whiteboards can be used for many things. I see. Yeah, they can do, can't they? And they make really good blockers of cupboards. You know, if you go like, oh, there's a cupboard behind.
Maybe I need one because then I could hide like my Nerf guns and stuff like that.
That's the only reason I've kept this in here. And on the other side is all my jottings, my guests and things.
Saying what that, you got? Right? If you've got kids, this is fucking well worth the investment.
Yeah.
This holds like this holds something like 36 bullets.
Shit.
And then it's automatic. Motorized. This thing fucking hurts when you get hit by it.
Jesus.
Do you want me to shoot something?
Do you feel slightly American when you hold that?
Where? Here?
When you hold that, do you feel like an American? Yeah.
It makes me feel very powerful.
Okay.
Even do you know why I bought these originally? It was for my nephew's birthday party. He was having Nerf wars in his back garden. He was 6. And I spent £115 and went round with two of these.
Fuck.
And they all had just like shitty fucking Nerf guns, and I was like shooting like 36-year-olds. I was like rolling about in the back garden, fucking hitting them all in the face. They were crying, and yeah.
Awesome.
And they were like, "Can I have a shot of your gun?" And I was like, "No, it's my gun.
Yeah,
you can't have a shot of this. If you brought a shit one, that's your parents' fault." Yeah, and me and Haley went with these and just annihilated the competition.
Good. Yeah. Everything's a competition, apparently, to Sean. Heidi's sent her sorries and her apologies. She can't be here. She's on a date at the moment. Apparently, he's a well-hung guy that she's getting on with well, so that's good. People get upset when seeing Grant's rants when they open the chat. Thank you, very much appreciated. Who else we got? Oh, we got a new listener, a new viewer, Barry McCockiner. Lovely.
This isn't Barry's first time.
No, I know. I'm just.
He's not a OTB virgin.
Jon,
or a virgin.
Have you figured out who the rat is? Which rat?
No, we haven't figured out who it is, but we have made progress on. Oh, Mason's phoning me. 2 seconds.
Oh, here we go. We've made new progress. Where's Mason? What's this? You guys still have rat? I got keep. There's Mason's in a sauna. Looks like he's in a sauna, a red light sauna. Do you know what I think's happened? I think Mason's thought the time's wrong. I think he's thinking of an hour's time. Turns out Jethro isn't the rat. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave that. Do you know what I'm getting ready for? So my brother's on the island. He's arrived with my niece, who's 8.5 months old. The Manx rally. So we have car rallies throughout the island next weekend, from Friday till Sunday. So they do it in sections where they open up. That's where they close the island around different stages. So we have a proper rally going around, which is awesome. That gets us excited. That tickles the old testicles for the
Right.
TT.
Mason's just coming.
Okay. We've got TT at the end of May, which is always fun for the island. Doubles the population of the island for 2 weeks, which is lovely.
Invasion.
Bike rally or car rally. So it's a car rally next weekend for the 3 days, and then the TT is bikes, and the TT they go around the mountain road for the main TT, and then there's the Southern 100, which is on the south coast of the island later on, and a month after. But we got the Grand Prix. The difference between Grand Prix and the TT, you have to be a professional driver, part of a team. And the Grand Prix, you can be an amateur, so you can just register and you can come along and ride your bike round. But the Grand Prix is where most of the deaths happen because people go very, very fast on very, very thin flintstone roads, flintstones.
Yeah.
And they go splat. So it's more often than not the deaths occur at Grand Prix. We didn't have any last year with the TT. Usually it skips a year. So that's that.
Do they have deaths every year at it? No. I know you just said it skips a year, but
yeah. So last count, I think I might be completely wrong here. I think in the it's about 115 years. I think it's been going on for. I think there's been something like 260 deaths in the actual TT. So I think it's an average of like 2.5 every year. But some years there's none.
There's no eye.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
do they blame anyone for that?
No, do you know what? There's a really good
council.
the council. Every year they have, like they have a docuseries. Yeah, Monster are the chief fucking sponsor for the whole thing.
That means the sign of the devil, 666.
Oh right.
Learned that on Chris's show today.
Oh right. It's not just a monster claw in the shape of an M. No. Okay. But yeah, the buzz around the island's fucking awesome. Do you become Manx? You have to be born Manx. So
I want to know that as well.
So if you define it by if you've got a passport or you're a citizen, then you can become an Isle of Man citizen. But to be actual Manx, you have to have Manx heritage. But then there's also the Manx are quite proud of their island, and when people come across and moan about the weather or the ferries and all that, they're called stayovers and stopovers. So stopovers are people that come for like a week on holiday, and they're the stopovers. Stayovers are people that come for a little while and then leave again. But they're very passionate about their heritage and their nationality and their individual way of life, and so they should be.
You would probably get people like the Americans that think they're Irish.
Oh yeah, so there's quite a few Irish people here, simply just because of the location. But yeah, it's the big difference, especially England. I know Scotland's obviously very different from England, but in the Isle of Man, every fucking house has the flag up. Everyone loves the flag. Everyone loves and embraces being Manx and being part of the community. So coming from England, where it was almost like if you had an England flag, if you had a St George's flag in your window, people would think you're a white
people just think you're racist for that.
Yeah. So it was quite a shock coming over to the island where there's genuine national pride, which is a really nice thing to be part of. And obviously, my grandma and my mum are Manx. So
I was watching the Mayhem Classic last night, but I ended up falling asleep watching the men's event. It was when Colton was running. He looks funny when he's running. I know he's a fucking specimen, right? And I know he's fucking, like one of the fittest people on the planet, but you watched him running. It's fucking fantastic.
Is it the limb length? Do you think?
Yeah. It's just special to watch.
It makes it quite admirable because you know as well as I do the importance of having the limbs for gait and stride and stuff and power. And
Yeah,
when
it's
people
mad how
lack that,
good, because how proportionate he is for running, and he's actually he's a good runner.
right?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like watching him and him chase down Hartfield was fun.
Right. I've got
He
to
is
admit,
exciting.
I literally haven't watched a second of it. I haven't seen any of it. It just didn't. I didn't fit in with my plans this weekend. So.
I was just watching it when I was lying in bed with Adam, and ended up falling asleep.
Yeah. And also, guys, you have to remember the timings are slightly different for us as well. So times of the days
Yeah,
and stuff.
it was like 11 o'clock at night when I was watching it.
And I had to get up early this morning to watch the F1. So I was in bed early last night.
What time was the F1 on?
6 o'clock this morning.
6 in the morning.
Yeah, it was Japan. So the last couple of weeks has been China and Japan, and it's
Yeah.
Bahrain next week. And then I think it's Saudi Arabia the week after, and there's a gap, and then it's off to Miami. I think that should be fun.
And then you had your show this morning as well.
Yeah,
that was good. I was working when I was watching and listening to some of it, but the stuff that she does with the youth is what that got me I was like, oh, I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Hannah's the whole lot of them, the whole group over there at Academy program. It's special what they're doing. Like there's in the UK, there's nothing really like it. And effectively, in summary, for people that haven't heard it or don't want to, Hannah found CrossFit at a really challenging time in her life. She became a young mum at 18. At 26, 27, she stumbled into what was one of the best boxes in the UK with one of the best coaches with an elite athlete in 2016, which is like golden era for CrossFit. After a few years of doing that, completely Will Kane, so who was one of the top boys then, still is. He's got Blueprint, which is where Harry Lightfoot and hello Mason.
What's up?
How are you?
Keep telling your story, Jake.
All right. Where Amy Kringle and Harry Lightfoot train now at Blueprint. So he's the gym owner there. But yeah, so Hannah discovered CrossFit 2016-17 and then went on to realize, so she what she told us, she wanted to foster. So she wanted to go into foster care and help children, but she couldn't because she had a small flat that she couldn't arrange it. So she said, "What can I do? What can I use my experience in?" And she ended up realizing there was this massive gap between kids that are lacking opportunity or focus or parental, and they've maybe got they're neurodivergent kids or anything like that. And she set up the Academy program with a couple of her friends, basically to bridge the gap between the CrossFit affiliates and schools and the care system. So she pulls in people from all the resources. She's set up for a charity now. So she gets, and one thing I didn't get to talk to her about, which I was really, really annoyed. So I'm going to try and see if I can get another call or someone that knows more, is the CrossFit Foundation. So when people absolutely slate CrossFit and HQ and all this kind of stuff, the CrossFit Foundation was set up by Greg, obviously many moons ago now. Mm-hmm. It's the charity arm of CrossFit, and it gives donations and funding towards getting the youth and for people like that haven't got the opportunity to go to CrossFit, to getting them in and funding grants every year. And they use them, and they work really well with Chuck Castwell, who's obviously everyone knows who he is or should do at CrossFit. And they've got a stream of these young kind of people coming into CrossFit now, becoming ambassadors. They're going to the Teen Pit last year, the games. They're now doing their qualifications. They're now becoming mentors for young kids that are coming through the system. They've got this whole system set up with councils around the country. They're getting gyms set up in schools. So charity arm of CrossFit, you don't have to pay affiliation. You can set up, they give funding towards kit and getting people coached up. So schools across the country are now getting set up with affiliates for kids there. The teachers are getting coached in it. Like there's this whole system, and people like younger people are going into jobs. It sounds, like not Scherzingers. There's a couple in the US that have that system with the prison service, and they get the youth guys that are going to go to prison, and Schindeldecker.
I used to have a client that used to bring people that were just out of prison in the UK, and she had a program. It wasn't the same as what Matt does, and they were kind of bridging the gap and getting them back into the community. And I used to coach like some of them, and that was tremendous. But I meant what I said in the chat this morning. Like I needed that as a team, like what Hannah and that's doing, because she was talking about everything, teaching them how to market businesses, teaching them how to like she's putting them through level 1s. Which she said there's a 18-year-old going through his level 2.
Yeah,
they were paying for them to go to comps, all sorts of stuff. Like that's
it's awesome. Yeah, and it's only growing. It's only just started to grow. So the potential's massive. So she's doing a really fucking valuable job. And
is it just in England at the moment?
No, they're in Scotland. There's one up right near you, actually. That if you look on their map of affiliates that are involved, there's one right up near you on their map on the website, but on Instagram. But anyway, I've chatted rubbish, and we've got Mason in the chat, just waiting patiently.
Did we wake you up, Mason?
Sorry about that. I even looked it up this morning, and it was 6 GMT, and it was like, all right, it's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know how I screwed that up. But yeah, I was on the trainer trying to squeeze in a ride, and I clicked on the YouTube and saw you already live. So yeah, here I am.
That's all right. It's our pleasure to wait for you. It's fine. We got a good chat in. So, what were you doing? What was your ride today?
I was just trying to see what was out. I had a 70-mile ride yesterday, so I was just going to try to do maybe an hour, just easy, go off field, Zwift ride. So, and I felt really good. I got a race next weekend, so I was just. It's hard to know day to day if your legs are going to be there or not. It's weird. It don't make sense. My legs should not feel good today, but they do. So it's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Are you in a racing season? I know we can get into that after, but obviously you said you got a race next weekend.
I'm more or less dabbling in it. I mean, I'm not. Next weekend it'll be it's just like a one-off, so it's not really a season. There's not enough cycling here unless you really wanted to get into like gravel racing, and then you got to be willing to travel across the country. There's not like a centralized cycling area here really. Like a lot. Kansas is where a lot of the big gravel races are, and plus most of the gravel races are 200 miles of gravel. So you're looking at 8, 9, 10-hour days, and I have just the adaptions needed to get good at something at that time domain. It's like you can go ahead and hang up everything. You need to be sitting your butt on a bike 4 or 5 hours a day, every day, essentially. And that's just, yeah. And then I would still suck. It's like you'd put in all that effort, and then you might be like 60th place or something. So
and
take us back to when you obviously not your first.
Just before we even go back to that, see you're saying like that race, you're sitting on the bike for 4 or 5 hours a day. Are they people that are just recreational, or are they doing it like full time? Because that surely be...
There's some that probably lay 12 to 15 hours a week as a recreational cyclist.
Recreational, yeah, I can get that, but you're thinking like 4 or 5 hours every day of the week, like that's insane.
Yeah, well, you might have one day off. Like most pros are expected about 25 hours a week if they're in training season, to 30 maybe. So I mean so you do the math on that. You're on the bike a lot. Yeah. And I'm just not willing to, and I still, I mean, I would put it in, and it's still like you've wasted all this time, and you're probably just still half-ass, really.
Mm-hmm. My I know I've told you about him, but Sam, who I saw actually the other day, he's off to France at the moment. He's a professional cyclist. He's from the island. Obviously, we've got quite a strong background in cycling. But the amount of hours, I was shocked. I mean, his dad did Ironman, a very, very good athlete. Sam's type 1 diabetic, which he adds even more fucking mental to the thing. But he's on the road constantly. So he'll come back to the island, and every day he's minimum five hours out as a minimum, and he's only back for like a week or two at a time. It's because he's a professional. He's literally has to travel off the island, but every moment he's on the island, he's cycling. It's just constant. The amount of volume, and it's totally different, obviously, to what we're used to in the CrossFit gyms. Like to seeing and understanding and volume, it's just nuts. And then the power, like obviously we'll come into you know your watts and your power a lot more than I do, and maybe on, but it's unfathomable the difference in the professional cyclists and then what everyone else can do at a good level is just it's fucking mental.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys, might be 140 pounds, but I guarantee you, or 150, even if they're a sprinter. I mean, they're still gonna be able to lay the same power for 30 seconds as say like the biggest CrossFit games at like a Hopper or a Dallin, except they've got 50 less pounds on them. It's sort of it's crazy. And then of course they all got the magic VO2 gene. All of them are gonna have like over 80 VO2 max, and that's sort of the threshold for my understanding of like if you're going to be a professional cyclist. If it's not there, just find something else. It's not, you're never going to make it. I don't care how many hours you put in. It's just not happening.
Is that what the number? That's what you're saying. Number is 80.
About 80 is like to be a professional. Like if you're training, you can't get to. It's like it's just not in the cards.
That's mad.
So when did you, obviously, like putting aside as a kid and all that, was there like a moment when you just took up cycling again as an adult? Because how old are you now?
39.
39. So was there like a point where you just rediscovered cycling?
Well, I mean, BMX riding and like as a kid, but I never did any, that probably ended as soon as you start hanging with the first friend gets a car or something. But I think it was more or less like the C2 bikes, like coming to the scene, and you start spending time just spending on the bike was sort of what happened. And then you start looking at watts, and then I started looking at what pro cyclists were doing, and I really just become a fan of professional cycling. And then a friend, a wealthy friend, just had like a really nice road bike, and he was like, "Here, just keep it for a little while." And then I went out on my first ride, second ride. Then you see all the other people riding, and you're like, "Ooh, I wonder what it's like to ride in a group." They look professional. I'm riding around in a t-shirt flapping in the wind and all, the classic like rookie cyclist, because all the spandex, that's gay. So
they put their bibs on.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to be one of those. That's silly. And then, you do your first group ride, and then you sort of see the similarities, I guess, between that and maybe like a CrossFit class.
Yeah, it's community,
like
isn't it?
Yeah, like your top people are driving the pace, and you're just sort of at first, you're just hanging on, trying to stay in a draft, fighting for your life. You don't really know how to shift yet. You don't know how to, pace. So every ride for like the first year or something, you just get left out there. Like it's sort of, and a lot of people, that'll rub them wrong, and they'll be like, this ain't for me. They're mean. But for me, that was what hooked me really, I think, is just constantly getting left by old men with pot bellies a lot of times, and I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm figuring this out. And then, eventually you just start getting a little better and better.
I get just a tangent. I get that with swimming. If ever I'm at the pool, there's like these giant dudes that are like, they don't have any place. They don't look like they've got any fucking right to be fit as a fiddle. And yet I'm fucking blowing out of my arse, or hoping I can, trying to swim. And they're just up, down for like an hour of freestyle. And I'm like having to stop every 20 meters.
Yeah, and it looks worse because you look fit. So it's like, and then they get out and they're like, "Well, what's your excuse?" And you're like,
Yeah, you've done me. You've done me. Yeah, so cycling, I guess it's even more so because you can't hide under the water, can you? You're right there.
Well, you just come. They're all sitting back at the end of the ride, and they've already got snacks out and feet propped up, and then you roll up, drooling out the side of your mouth, and yeah.
Go back, because obviously me and Jake, we've just kind of jumped into where you are now. But Jake likes to ask a certain question, and we've bypassed all that kind of chat because we've probably lost count the amount of times we've had video calls with you, but nobody else has had that pleasure. So let's go back to the very beginning, and Jake likes to ask people a certain question, and I don't want to take.
How big is your? Huh?
How big is your cock?
What's your earliest? Have you got an earliest memory? You have an earliest memory, Mason Mitchell?
Maybe like something going on, like a beach trip or something that's really hazy.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe something like that, going to like where they used to have like the parks, the water parks with the like SeaWorld type thing. You don't know if they even have those anymore, but
yeah, I know they got rid of the killer whales, didn't they?
I feel like I was maybe 3 or 4 or something. Maybe that's too early. Maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, that sounds about
I
right.
I was at an aquarium last week. It
What
wasn't
did they have?
SeaWorld.
Were they bad people, or
they had
have only
penguins?
the good animals?
They had penguins.
What kind?
Sharks. Emperor penguins.
Oh,
I didn't know. I didn't think you were going to ask me what kind of penguins. They all look very sad, though.
Did they have starfish?
They did. They had. I seen one starfish. I've actually got a photo of it.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Early
good.
years of sport, Mason. Oh, there we go. Did you get an autograph?
Yeah, me and Bill hung out for a minute at the games. I looked over and he was a couple rows to my left.
Have you met this guy?
Oh yeah, a couple of times. The game. Well, I only saw him for like a minute. He was hiding at the games this last year. But yeah, at Rogue Invitational, we hung out. 2 years ago?
That's good. That's good. He's quite elusive, quite aloof. I think the word's aloof.
Yeah, he was by himself, just walking around. I'm not sure what he was doing.
I know what he was doing. I know his jeans. I know what he was doing. Aloof. It's a great word, isn't it? Aloof.
Sport. What did you do in What did you do in school? Like, what was like your upbringing? All that.
I mean, I started like fucking off at like 12. So I like started smoking weed and hanging out with those kids at like 12. So that was pretty much the end of. But until that point, soccer. I was pretty good at soccer and or football and baseball. But yeah, by that age, I'd already started fucking off, and then that was it. So I basically squandered any potential that I had.
Okay, and what? Think how you actually progressed in sport, fitness and sports, considering you started smoking weed at 12 years old. Like
I'm not sure.
You're not the typical weed smoker that's people would think like stereotypical, like lazy, like.
I don't know. I think I am sort of lazy sometimes. I think I am actually pretty lazy. I don't know if I'm perceived as lazy. I think I'm pretty lazy though.
Well, thing is, you look at the other athlete, the American athletes like Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps. Like, no one would call them lazy, I guess, and yet they openly admit to using it as a relaxation method, don't they?
Yeah, well,
I think that stereotype's just
Yeah, so I suppose there's that. See, that's what Stanley's in. You know, hang out with the wrong crowd at that age, easy to get wrapped in. Because I went the opposite route. Because that's what I did. I quit sports at like that kind of age, and was like drinking, smoking weed, and I didn't find fitness again until like my mid-20s.
Yeah, I think I had a run from about like 12, 13 to about 23 or 4. And then
Okay, I see you did as well.
yeah, and I think CrossFit was for me in the beginning was like, ooh, this is because also although during all those years, even though I'm like partying, you know, like Adderall, Xanax all the time, somehow or another I never quit working. Like I don't know if there was ever a time from like 16 or 17 until now where I haven't worked out at least like 3 or 4 days a week. Like even like I remember being in the gym like on Xanax. Like I would still like that's what I wanted to do. I'd go pump iron or whatever, try to shoot hoops. But
Perfect.
way before CrossFit, I was always still doing something.
So did you have a bodybuilding phase?
Oh yeah, just like I mean, like I think that's everybody's introduction. Yeah, you just want to get big. I had a bench press in my room. So basically just bench press and throw some curls in. Same as everybody. I think I might have started, you know, leg pressing, some leg extensions. But I think I had a little in that. I think I was sort of encouraged because relative to my friends, I got stronger a little quicker. So maybe that sort of encouraged me to get in it. And I think once, you know, I think CrossFit was just for me, I thought as an opportunity to maybe get back into some athletics, even though I was 27 when I started, you know, CrossFit. It's like, oh, I have an opportunity to be good at something maybe again.
Right. And that what we're talking like, yeah, sorry.
What year was that when you were 27? What year did you start CrossFit?
I started at the very end of 2012.
2012. Also very early, eh?
Yeah. Back when it was, you know, coaching was snatches, taking it from the ground to straight overhead. And our gym was, I think, found like in 07 or 09. So it was a really early one. But I mean, you know, even the best coaches were, you know, a year or two in and they weren't coached yet at the time. So, I mean, how good can any 2-year coach be when they had no coach and everything's, but yeah, so that's sort of unfortunate because you realize the first 5 years of lifting, you basically butchered every single thing you did. And I still have a lot of like my snatch videos and stuff on Instagram. They're all just atrocious. I mean, they're god awful. I'm like, no, I'm leaving it there.
Yeah, you never want to pull them up. Like,
that kind of goes back to what you were saying, Jay, about what Boz said to your L1 about you're not actually a CrossFitter until you're 2 years in.
It's like you've got a wait list to be a 2 year, like wait list to be a CrossFit for 2 years. You're like, you will not be a CrossFit until you've done it for 2 years. And I was like, fuck off. I've been doing CrossFit for like 9 months now. I'm a fucking legend. And then like it was at 2 years, you're like, your goals start to refine. You realize you're shit at most gymnastics or your weightlifting's crap. And like you watch or you go to your first comp and you're like, fuck, that's what they're doing. Like, and then you realize, oh man. And you're like, I've got to try again. I've got to reset here. But yeah, it's funny you say that because the around that time, so the gym that I went to had been formed like 2 years before that, and my first gym that I went to, Reading. And again, when gyms were set up there, especially over here, because it was even newer here, like we didn't get the early kind of you know, I think Manchester, like where train were like 08. I think you get a couple of the 08, 09s. There's a bit of a kind of a jump. We went from in 2013, we went from 102 affiliates to 500 that year. So like
this is where
that much of a jump.
So the UK went from about 100 affiliates to about 500 in 1 year. So like 2013 to 2014 was just like this ginormous jump for volume in terms of affiliates that opened. But what you had there was basically the people like me that had been to an affiliate that thought, fuck it, I'm going to do my own one. So it's just exponential. It's just like if every affiliate had 2 people that did it, it would literally just exponentially just double overnight. But again, there's a carryover of bias. And like you said, how many people at that point had enough experience and years under their belt in order to actually coach it and program it properly, like effectively? They're always going to have their bias. Of course they are. They're coming from another training methodology or program. The one that I went to, the next one that I went to in 2013, incredible nutrition and Metcon coach. Everything was fucking nailed. And we did the power lifts probably once a week on top of that. The compounds were well handled. But the top end of the weightlifting and the gymnastics stuff, the gymnastics was all strict. There was zero kipping because Lee was about 15 years older than me. He's in his mid-50s now. So this would have been about early 40s. He was past the point of giving a shit about kipping and butterfly. He didn't even know how to butterfly himself. But all the foundations were taken care of. And I'm quite lucky with that. But other gyms that I saw in the area were like, it was like a guy probably in his early 30s just went, fuck it, weightlifting. I've seen the games. I know how to coach that. And they've gone, and then you get that, you know the type of gym that I'm talking about. But I was quite fortunate there. But it's a really good point, actually. The gyms that opened up around that time, probably that's where you start to saw the bias come out. But then there was another resurgence where actually people got enough experience under their belt to realise, got to start again, got to actually program properly, got to think about what we do, develop specialty classes, get specialty coaches in, go on the specialty courses, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Going back to you saying that your coach never like cared about kipping and butterflies and stuff. That was what I think was quite lucky for me when I first started. I was obviously like I am bigger, but the coach I had at the time was like he wasn't interested in like teaching you how to kip or butterfly until you could do at least 5 strict like dead arm pull-ups. So like that's how I got better at them.
Yeah,
like,
here
it was you shouldn't be doing
it was just like, all right, you can't do a pull-up, all right, band and then kip the band.
Yeah,
and then do as many of those until your shoulders are about to rip off. And it's some little, girl with noodle arms just about to dislocate a shoulder, and it's everywhere. But then
you can see them and they can kip pull-ups all day long, but then they can't do a single strict pull-up.
I saw somebody recently, it's a UK coach that's all on Instagram, but I'm seeing his stuff pop up in my feed. I don't follow him, but talking about chest to bar pull-ups or pull-ups. I'm assuming he's referring to all kipping, but for his, I guess, games athletes or high-level athletes, like he will not program them only up until like 2 months up until a competition. And then it's even limited in like with a 50 to, start them with 30, 40 reps total in a workout or Metcon and then build them up to 70. But I was like, this is the first time I'd ever heard like a high level coach be like, no, we don't do that. Like, it's like labrum, rotator cuff, tear central.
Is that
I was like, yeah, that's a refreshing thing to hear.
Yeah.
I wonder if was that Massey? Is that Craig Massey that's done that?
It's the bald-headed guy. He always makes really good points. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know who that is then.
I was going to say there's a British guy that's on the gymnastics staff, but he's got a full head of hair. But I've seen a few videos coming out on that on the affiliates and the CrossFit Instagram page recently. But it's like they sent out an email recently about butterfly. Should I butterfly? Or I've seen like CrossFit, actual main site. The article was all about that and about the steps that you should take, and that it's about athleticism and getting the stuff done fast, and when and when not to employ use the movement, and when to learn it and when not to learn it. Like we all know, like I don't mind coaching it to people that need it, but I'll tell anyone beforehand the risk that you take when doing it. You're going to go faster, but you've got to have the capacity to keep up with the the speed, but also you've got to put so much time into prepping the everything that goes with it. And for what? Unless you are racing properly racing, and you don't need
it. The kipping, especially the butterfly, I mean, it's going to save you on the set of 30, maybe 3 or 4 seconds. And it's also going to get your heart rate up a little higher. So the second that you can't come off of that movement and immediately start the following movement and then go through it, it just completely lost all value. And now you should have just done the more efficient or slower movement. So, and then who are we talking about that's needs that specificity of training? It's got to be a high level competitive athlete with big aspirations. I mean, so even in most classes, I mean, it really don't have. I know my athlete, at my gym, they love it. Someone put it in there, but it's still going to be sparingly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
PK had a question. 2 seconds.
Did he?
Where did that go? There we go. Would you recommend going an affiliate or to be coached? Or just train at home alone with no coaching?
Obviously, the affiliate. I mean, I think you can do really good at home, but I think the key to that is you have to video yourself, and then you have to be critical. Like, I think you can self-coach, but like you really have, because most everybody, I mean, even a trained athlete or somebody like myself, what you think you're doing and what you're doing are most likely not going to be the same thing. Or that, the 10-second rest was really 25 seconds. And you could really but you're not going to you're going to learn a million things. Same way with cycling, like a couple group rides and just like being in a group, watching what everybody else is doing, you're going to subconsciously pick up so much. And then plus
you'll learn way more.
Yeah. Right. And then most people are going to get lost in the race. And I think that is the beauty of CrossFit and all that. You're going to get lost in the race and give a lot more intensity than the average person is willing to give by themselves. I know some people are maniacs and it's not really going to matter, but for the majority of people, I think just putting the hammer down and not really pacing might be the best thing, for them just to get it in and enjoy the workout and blow up in the first 3 minutes, and it'll be okay.
It's like
it depends on your goals.
It's like our friend from the chat, Mike Sauer. Like, he was really good at weightlifting. Well, he was getting strong and he was getting good, but then as soon as he joined the dedicated weightlifting club, he fucking got
immediately. Well, somebody's saying so every time you lift, it's like, you could do this better. The instant feedback is just, you could explain it to somebody. It's like Jake trying to explain to Grant something over, like, it's like, it's like, this is a futile endeavor. Like even, to put into words how to do something.
Yeah.
By the time you get that feedback and then the next time you go to use it, it's gone. Whereas if you're there and you're doing it and someone's saying, no, this is what you'd feel like, do this. And then you're like, right, cool, try it again. And they're like, no, like, this is what it is. And it's like, you're getting that instant.
Right.
That
instant feedback. All right. Now we corrected it. Now we got the proper rep. Now we're going to do 5 repeats of the proper rep. Now it's locked in. Now we move on that quick.
There's parallels between when you're drunk, right? So equate being fucking fatigued or lifting heavy to being drunk. What you need is someone fucking holding your hand with you when you're drunk, guiding you about what to do, not showing them a video of when you were pissed the day after and them saying you should have done this. And then next time you're drunk, trying to remember what the matey boy said the other day to the other time I was drunk. It's like, you need a chaperone. You need someone watching now and again. Doesn't have to be all the time, but just someone to guide you and just to let you know.
My internet messing up?
No, it was good. You got a little bit fuzzy,
mate. That last part.
That's right. It's just some rubbish about someone being drunk. It's fine.
And it's funny because, like, I agree with everything you said, but part of my business is online coaching. So I get people to send me videos and I give them feedback. But something that I integrated a few months ago was anyone that works with me online can come in once a month in person. So, like, do you know if there's something, and I'll do it more than that anyway, but if I see something that's like, I think, we need more hands-on work, I'll just get them to come into the gym so we can actually do it in person. Because as you say, I can give them that form feedback, but they might send it to me on a Friday, but they were in the gym on the Wednesday and they're not doing it again till Tuesday. And it's like, you don't think about it when you're doing it.
No.
Like you don't.
And remote coaching and remote learning is a massive part of the fitness industry. It's not to completely demonize it and say it's not a thing or it doesn't have value. However, you do need that check-in every now and again, and necessity dictates how you train. You know, if you're someone that lives an hour away, like Janelle in fucking North at Pole, like her local affiliate is an hour away. No one's, or 2 hours away. No one's expecting her to travel through Alaska for 2 hours to get to her affiliate 3.5 times a day.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's purely out of necessity, isn't it? So you do the best that you can, I guess.
Having someone like,
as long as there's enough video feedback and pacing, heart rate data, all that. I think now, maybe 5 years ago, it would have been really hard, but now as easy as it is to everybody has an Apple Watch or something on their hands, I can see. And then if you know how to set up all like C2 machines between heart rate data, paces, and then videos of lifts, I think it's a lot easier to do quality remote coaching now than it probably would have been even 5 years ago.
Well, that's it. You can link up your C2 monitor to pretty much any smartwatch now on the app, and then you can get that feedback straight to your coach.
Right.
I got a question for you too about C2. So the monitor, right? Is it PM5 still? Hasn't changed.
Yeah, I've got mine are PM5s.
Right. What would you change about that?
I don't know.
As far as what?
Is there any way they can make it better? So, like, obviously, it's a Bluetooth connection to your phone, but the actual data, the display, anything about it, would you change anything about it? Not a loaded question. I'm just wondering.
If they had their own app, I think it would be fucking ideal. But like, you know, like
Earth Data app works pretty well.
Yeah, that does. But it's like third party apps that you're linking to. But it would be cool if Concept actually developed their own app, and then maybe I don't think the monitor itself needs to be better in any way because it displays everything you need to see.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of C2 of everything. Yeah. So like it's just they seem to have got it figured out. But I do my Zwift rides and all. That's what I was just on. I do my Zwift ride. It's my Apple Watch.
Do you do it on the C2?
On the C2, yeah. I'm in Zwift. I'm using my Apple Watch for the heart rate, so it's all displayed on the screen in front of me. And I just pulled the TV up right in front of the C2, so I'm in my little virtual world, keeping my mind busy. But yeah, so I mean and most everybody I ride with, they all use trainers with their real bikes on it. I rarely. It's just I'm just trying to spin my legs. It's more comfortable. I'm gonna do it all on a C2 bike.
See on the trainers. I know we're getting into the weeds here, but and then if you've got an expensive like carbon fiber frame, does see when you're on some of these trainers, does the tension not ruin the like when it's changing the tension? Does that not ruin like bike frames?
No, it don't. Nah. I mean, the thing is though, it's just that it does wear out bikes, and you're sitting there sweating, dumping sweat on them. All that, and you know, most bikes are going to be way more expensive than any C2 bike, and plus C2 bikes are bulletproof, so yeah, it makes a lot more sense just to spend your time on
obviously that. I'm like you. I got into like just being on the bike because I got myself a C2 bike when I was cranking up the miles a couple of years ago when I was going to do the ultra, and I tore my hamstring. I couldn't run, so I got the C2 bike. And then I was like toying with the idea of like, oh, maybe I'll eventually do an Ironman. One of my clients was like, oh, I'll bring around a bike for you. And he took around this bike and he was like, oh, I'll give you a good price for it. And it was like, he wanted like $3,000 for it. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah,
he was probably really hooking.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, this is like an $8,000 bike. And I was like, mate, I'm not spending $3,000 on a bike to get into road biking. There's no way I'm dropping that.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, this is an $8,000 bike. This is a bargain. And I get it. It's a bargain, but I was like, fuck, like $3,000 for a bike.
Yeah. It gets out of That's probably the worst part about cycling is the cost of entry. I mean, it's out of control for sure. I don't see how they got to that price either. But there's
And
a
it's a
top tier
repeated
bike.
cost,
Yeah, a top tier
isn't
bike
it?
from any brand is about 15,000. Like that's just about where they sit.
Nuts. There's a the spike shop. It's quite like in the Isle of Man. Obviously, everyone's fucking bike mad here. Like the Cavendish effect over the last sort of
Cavendish,
10
yeah.
years. But they well, you know, Mason, but my boy does like the bike racing. They do it every Tuesday night, and from the age
Yeah.
of like 2, they do these races, right? So, but the money that the other parents, one, I'm unwilling, and two, I haven't got any. But the money that they bury into these bikes that will last 2 years, and their kids will grow out of it. It's fucking mental. There's this shop, this big bike shop on the island that everyone goes to for new bikes, right? And you've got kids' bikes that are like £3,000, like £3,000. And then you've got these adult bikes that are like coming in and they're like 10, 15 grand. And they're still there. And I'm like, how do you warrant that? But they sell, they go, they're bought, they're gone. Like it's absolutely fucking mad. It's nuts. I get the adult ones because they'll laugh. You're not, as an adult, you're not going to be outgrowing it. But the kids ones, fuck, it's
But
mad.
I will say half the people I ride with 2 or 3 years max on a bike, which I mean they'll last 10 years or more. But yeah, it's like, well, the new one come out. I gotta get the new, especially that new S Works with the top tier group set and all.
Yeah. Stanley, right? If I didn't know better, I would say that you live on the Isle of Man because that's the running joke. You get the parents that like bury £3,000 on this like 7-year-old bike that they're going to ride for 40 minutes a week. And they're geared up with the goggles and the fucking helmets. Like obviously they all wear helmets, but these like really expensive carbon fiber fucking helmets. And the running joke, they get there like 45 minutes before to get the front lane or the front row to put the bikes on to warm their kids up. They're visualizing the track, and it's just this 800-meter like route around a running track. And they're genuinely, they genuinely are investing, thinking that one day their kid will be at the Tour de France. And it blows my mind that it's almost, and this is no disrespect to any, because my kid does it as well. So it's not anyone particular, but the fucking arrogance to think that your kid will be the next Cavendish. You've got no idea how, and at the age of 7, 6 and 7, at that age, Cavendish didn't even start till he was 11 on a BMX, like going around it, thrashing everyone on a BMX. Like at that age, you've got to be having fun as a kid. You've got to love that thing. You've got to learn to love what you do. And then as you approach teenage years and develop through there, that's when you start to really hammer down. But at this age, man, I can't help but think like, feel a bit sorry for the kids in the end. We've all seen it with all sports, isn't it?
What would
So
that be
you
like
have fun.
there? I guess it would be like somebody making it to the NFL here or something. I guess y'all have what would be football and would it be cycling? Are those the two? Like if you have
Rugby.
On the island, so specifically on the Isle of Man, I think Mason's gone for a sec. No.
He's deep in thought. Speaking of Tour de France, before Mason comes back, they are going to be kicking off the 114th Tour de France from Edinburgh in Scotland.
Amazing.
That's mad.
How good will that be? Yeah, I think they'll get a lot of people watching that.
Because they've been in the UK before, but the men have, haven't they? Like back in like 2007.
Yeah.
Go through London back then.
Yes. I can't remember the name of the women's one.
Yeah, I don't think the women have ever been in the UK.
No. I might. Shall I hide him for now? Hang on. Remove from stage. There we go.
Wait till
he's there when he comes back on. When he's here, he's here in spirit.
We can pull up stuff that Mason's done.
Oh, hell yeah.
2 seconds. He's clean 365. Hey, what's that in kilos?
Here he is. He's back. Out.
Ask him.
Kick from studio. Kick guest. Out to stage. Hello.
Mississippi internet, I guess. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. So on the island, it's mainly cycling is the number one export, so to speak. So that's the biggest thing. We've got quite a few cyclists come off the island, and that's just the nature of the island. Kids can just learn to ride and then they go. And the terrain is it's nice and safe. The roads are really safe here, contrary to fucking what people would think with a TT on it. But there's no road restrictions. There's no national speed limit. There's no speed cameras. There's no anything. But yet we've got the safest roads, and everyone can go out cycling all the time. So get your head around that. But yeah, cycling is the number one sort of sport on the island. Yeah, Jon, what were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, what was I going to share stuff with Mason or about Tour de France coming to Scotland?
Yeah, you were saying about Tour de France coming to.
I saw it start. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to start in Edinburgh. What, 2027, 114th year or something? They're going to kickstart it in Edinburgh, or they're going to start. I don't know. I think it's. Do they start the whole race there?
Mm.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a massive turnout.
Mm. Yeah.
What
time of year is that? Because I don't know anything about the Tour de France.
It's usually like the end of July or beginning. It's
Well,
usually
that
there
will
on like
be-
the Steel Day will be a stage for sure. So
Well, that
what's
will
that?
be crazy because in Edinburgh, like during July, August is when the Fringe is on, and it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Edinburgh's
Do you know
nuts
what
anyway.
Do you know what I want? I want Grant to come to Edinburgh Festival and to put on. I want him to do a show at Edinburgh.
Why does Jon look so confused? I don't know. It's the bald head, I think, and then when I raise my eyebrows, my forehead goes all wrinkly, so that's why I look confused.
How did your son do on the race the other day? Was that his first race of the year? Or?
Yeah, it was a warm-up race. So they've there's 19 weeks. Week 1 is just registration and warm-up, and they basically get an hour to just do as many laps as they want to do. And he ended up doing 27 laps. But like we hadn't anticipated him wanting to do it. But yeah, it's what 800.
So 13 miles, 13 plus miles, something.
Yeah, about that. But yeah, I was working in the gym that the Institute of Sport, which is on the track. So the back door to the gym opens up onto the race course. So I was coaching in there, had the door open. Every time he went past, I just watched him kind of go past. My wife's at the kind of like the gathering area at the beginning of the track, but he absolutely loves it. It's just like he's sort of found something he's quite good at. He does not give a shit. It's just go. And it's mad to see. Like they're all like a lot of the kids like it. He's not alone there, but like it's watching these little. Have you ever been skiing?
Mm-hmm.
I have once, and yeah, I'm terrible, but yeah.
Yeah, but did you have those little fucking idiot kids that are like 3 and they're bombing it down the slopes?
Yeah, right
like,
past me. Yeah, as I'm picking up my skis. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like these weird little creatures that are just going mental, looking like little adults doing this shit that you can't do. And like, fuck, it's just mad. But yeah, it's cool to see, and you can see how it would get addictive as a sport, as a pastime, because it's leisure / sport. It's one of those things that all you got to do to make it leisure is just slow down, and to make it sport, you just got to go faster.
That's a great way of putting it. It's because it is a leisurely activity, isn't it? if you just slow down,
yeah, just go from leisure to sport. It's good.
He might have the magic gene. You said your wife's quite aerobic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Supposedly, the VO2 gene or whatever is responsible for it is on the mother's side. Comes through. So.
Oh really? Oh, that's good then.
That's
right.
Good.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah.
That's why I love it then.
Maybe.
Well, I guess it's potential. It doesn't have anything to do with if they were actually an athlete. I guess it's their.
My dad was a marathon runner, and I clearly was not built for marathons, but that's where we're kind of going. But he was a marathon runner, but my mum was not sporty at all.
No. No, I played football, so soccer, until I was 30, till I decided that CrossFit was more important. Or staying injury free was more important. But I had a fucking good engine on me, like very, very good. So I wouldn't be surprised if Katie's got a good engine and I have.
Not again.
Yeah.
And then her mum does as well.
Yeah, her mum. I mean, her mum
Yeah,
used
her
to be
mum does,
in
and there's also a
marathons and all
games
that
after.
shit. Yeah. So he's got potential. Whether or not he survives till that age, I don't know. We'll see.
Here we go, Mason. Do you eat catfish, Mason?
Yeah, I will eat catfish. It's probably been several years since I've ate.
Have you ever caught one?
Oh yeah. Do
you do the putting your arm down the holes and let the cut? What's that called again?
Oh no, noodling. No, nobody.
Noodling. Yeah, have you ever done noodling?
No, nobody did that when I was. That was probably sensationalized through like those reality shows. What 15 years ago?
Oh,
that's not really. Catfish is like the most leisure of fishing because they're bottom feeders. So you just throw something out there and they'll eventually just grab it off the bottom. You watch your cork go under.
The only thing I know about catfishing.
Insult you, but
on then.
Here we go.
I don't think he's that.
I don't think he's fast. He's not that fast, Grant.
Yeah, if I train really hard for a year or two, maybe.
All right. So, what have you got planned before we move on to the high rock stuff? What have you got planned? So you got a race next weekend. With your cycling, do you just sort of play it by ear when there's an event nearby? You just travel and go and just sort of keep it like that, or is it?
Yeah, because you can usually sign up until like the last day. So, yeah, I'll do. This one's only like an hour and a half away in Louisiana, but it's a road race which is only 51 miles, and then or this one is, and then later that day is a time trial that's only 3 miles. So it's a mile and a half out, a mile and a half back with some train. So it's, I guess, just 8 minutes of just pedal to the metal. And then Sunday morning will be a criterium race, and I'll have to play that by ear. The risk of that at this point, I mean, if there's bad wrecks and stuff that happen, it's in a criterium race, which for people that don't know, that's usually just like a really short circuit through like a downtown or through a parking lot. So you're sort of lots of turning, lots of accelerating, and there might be 30 or 40 riders, shoulder to shoulder bumping you the whole time. So
yeah,
we'll see if that one, if I decide that I want to do that one also Sunday morning.
Have you ever been in that bike wreck, Mason? Like when multiple people are going down? Oh, did you freeze out there?
He's back. Have you been in a bike wreck?
Have you ever been in a bike wreck? Have you ever been in a bike wreck?
Not in every bike wreck I've ever had it was early on, and it's almost always when I'm not being serious or like not racing. It's when it's being like lazy or like a false sense of safety on an easy ride. Mm-hmm. Or that, or wreck. I don't know if it's a wreck, but the most time you're going to bust your ass when you're starting is being clipped in, and you come up to a stoplight and the car is sitting there waiting on you, and you go, and then you just fall over because you can't get your feet out and bust your ass at an intersection in front of everybody and feel like a dumbass. But no, I've had a couple, maybe at like 20 miles an hour or a little more, but nothing at crazy speeds. You just get really skin up. For the most part, the most common, everybody that rides, it's not really an if, but a when is the collarbone break. Like that's one it's sort of inevitable.
Yeah, a guy across the road from me, I was in school with him. He's one of my neighbors, and he's done like Ironman and stuff, and he came off doing about 27, 30 miles per hour, and both his hands came out like that, and he landed and
Yeah.
broke both collarbones. He was in like both arms were in the cast, you know.
Both. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
both. Yeah.
I would say every person in the tour, I'd say 95% of them have had broke collarbones. I mean, it's pretty much across the board. If you've been cycling for that many years, you've broken your collarbones. Most of them several times.
Nice.
it's mad.
Horrible.
I see my best all time lift is
this it here?
well, that's 355. I think and that one's 365. Yeah, that was
that's
that was early
365.
on.
Which is not 165 kilos.
And that's in 2015. That's 10 years ago coming up.
Yeah, that was during I was doing weightlifting for a short period of time, so I got really strong. Like I was doing like a 2K row a week is my only conditioning.
Can I just say something? The shorts. That's a sign of the times, that is.
Oh yeah, all of them were 9. It had to be 9-inch Lulu. All of them, core short.
PK only wears the 3-inch ones.
I'm a 5-inch short guy. Like I like to wear the shorts the same length as my cock.
Good. Right, high rock.
That's why PK wears the 3-inch. And this is this 200 kilos? Is that 200 kilos?
Probably
190.
Or is it
that looks like there's 1 or 2 on the end. I can't tell.
It's
That's 425 or 445.
Yeah, it's 3 threes as well. That's good.
It's not shit, is it?
So tell us about your High Rocks experience. How did it come about? What did your training look like? What was the day like?
I really didn't train for it, to be honest. I mean, it's which I should have. It wasn't the right approach, but it was sort of just something. Me and Brandon had just he rides bikes with me some. He had mentioned wanting to do one, and I was like, I'll do one, and then we sort of just all right, let's sign up. But that was probably 6 weeks, maybe 2 months before, and I think the running just has to be, I mean, I think everything, I don't think you really have to train specifically for High Rocks as somebody that does some CrossFit, especially if you are, a dedicated CrossFit athlete. You just got to start running your ass off.
Yeah, especially not the stations anyway. The stations are just like, it's a running race.
Right. So I think most any could do well for their potential, any CrossFit athlete, if they just like 3-month running block. Like all you do is, add in 2 or 3 runs a week. But yeah.
Would you think that's enough for someone that just wants to do High Rocks, but then once you want to get up into like the upper echelon, like obviously you went sub 60, didn't you?
Right. I think it's 59, 19.
Yeah, 59. If you wanted to get that down into like the 52s, where like that's where like the top kind of doubles ones are. It's like when you think about taking 7 minutes off that time, do you think like, right, cool, now we actually do need to train a little bit more specific and kind of tie our runs?
Right. Yeah. Obviously, that turns different too. But for them guys, I'm thinking like if any time they run over like a 3:30 1K, it's sort of like that's it. Like that's probably has to be your worst, absolute like worst number on one of the 8 1Ks. If it's above 3:30, you're not relevant anymore.
Grant, did you hear that? 3:30.
Would you and I break 75 minutes together? If so.
No.
Nah, you couldn't break a 75-minute. No chance. Even with Mason. Mason could do all the stations, but you would still need to run like a consistent, like probably 5-minute kilometer. And I don't know if you're doing that.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I could not do a sub 60 with me. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of that is contributed to. I was with Brandon Luckett, a freak athlete. This just to put this like, I think like right now he would go back to the games. He's that fit.
Yeah.
So like he essentially drugged me the whole time, and this is him doing 25.3 Thursday, repeating it again Friday, driving 5 hours to Houston that morning, and then doing that and dragging me essentially the whole time. And all I do is cardio and work.
Yeah.
Like it's just like there's levels here.
I done a 71-minute high rocks with my coach the year previous, and we split the stations where I only done a third of the station. He done 2/3 of the station, but I had to red line each run to give him time to rest each run. And he was like, "Will I run beside you?" And I was like, "No, run as far in front of me as possible, but I can still see you, like that. You don't like come in." So there was no opportunity for me to actually stop, and we still only did 71 minutes.
Yeah.
So like on the ski erg, he did 400, I did 300, and then he did the last 300. So he did like 700. I was do 3 on the sleds. We did half and half on the sleds, but then on the burpee broad jumps, he basically did a full length. I jump in, maybe did 20 meters. He did the rest. Then we just ran. It was like just so like it wasn't like a case of me just resting the whole station. He would do like 2/3 of each station, and it was still like keeping that run pace to try and go, because we were trying to go sub 70 and we didn't get it by a minute, which was gutting. But he's been to the world champs like twice.
Okay.
And even running that 71 with only doing like not even splitting the stations half and half was horrible.
Yeah, splitting work even, that makes no sense. I want to go the fastest. So whatever splits we need to do to make that happen.
I remember when you messaged and asked, and I was like, yeah, do not think that you need to go 50-50, because that's people think you like, oh, but I want to do half of it. It's like, no, you want to get the fastest time possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So why do you want to do half?
Yeah, if you're going to be a slower runner, don't do half the station. Like the other stronger runner should always do a little bit more of the stations.
So we've got this lad Connor who won the Open in Britain, 2021 and I think 2022 again. He's fucking fit. Like he used to box. He's the perfect. Like he was the perfect. He's like 5'7", I think, 5'8". He likes to end himself. Like people that just they've got the ability to just go dark mode. Like that they enjoy it. He's gone from really, really decent CrossFitter to the last 3 weeks deciding he's going to do high rocks as a sport. So he's gonna throw himself in.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched him today. He's got a 18.5-minute 5K currently without any specific running. Right?
He'll do well.
Yeah, but I watched him today, and he did this workout where he did the last 4 stations. So you've got like the burpee bound,
farmers carry, it's rowing, farmers carry, lunging, and wall balls.
Yeah, he did them without the run for time through. Just go bang, 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 those 4 stations. And fuck me. Like, when you hear those people that are like in the steam engines coming and it's like bang, ba bang, ba bang, and you just hear the effort and you like screaming to yourself and like just savages. He's doing that. And I was watching it, I was thinking, you found what you were made for. Like he's just willing to just go dark for an hour, and those people, I guess, are the people from the affiliates that you, as a high roxer and a high rocks coach like you, Jon, and Mason, you've done one now, and you know fitness very, very well, and you know what identifying like attributes and what to look for in that. Is there any type of person from a CrossFit gym you would say don't even bother? And this is just a like a thought game that I like to play. Is there anyone that you would say don't bother doing a high rocks?
If it's like you're saying a typical client, and what's their aspirations? Yeah. Like what like they're trying to be elite or like find their way to elite, or just to
no. The parallels that I'm drawing here are from the Open, right? So I would encourage pretty much all my affiliate members at my old gym just to sign up for the Open, to test themselves, to be accountable, to be part of the community, blah 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 blah. Would there be a reason why you'd say to someone, don't do a high rocks? Is there any particular reason why you would put someone off doing it at all?
Barring some type of injury or some type of something, no. I think I would love to see everybody at my gym do one. But and as opposed to that, I would maybe not say, you know, everybody should do a competition or something at my gym. But right. I think, yeah.
I think there's a lot more.
Everybody.
Yeah, and I was trying to think about this the other day. I was talking to someone at my other gym, and I was trying to explain what high rocks was, and they said, "No, it sounds like something anyone can do." I was like,
"Yeah, technically, yes, it is. But do you want to complete a high rocks, or do you actually want to like do one and like feel good doing it and like, you know, like finish well?" Someone that I would probably say shouldn't do it is someone that, like, if you gave them 3 runs a week and they consistently only do one of them, right? You know, like, you know, or they kind of pick and choose like what parts of the program that they like, you know, they like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. That's going to be a bad time for them.
Yeah,
like if you're not willing, anybody that, I agree with that 100%. Anybody that's not willing to, you know, run several times a week in the lead up, at least, you know, for 6, you know, or so weeks leading up, it's not going to be fun. Like if you can't, you know, do all your runs in a regular Metcon and it's 400s and you can't even lightly, you have to walk those and you're not willing to train, it's going to be a 3-hour high rocks, and it's just not going to be a good time.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people, because it's so big in the UK now, especially like Scotland get one event a year. Glasgow's probably been, I might go out there and even say it's one of probably the, apart from London events, it's probably the biggest event that they've had. There was like 17, what did we say it was? Like over 17,000 finishers over the event weekend, because it went from Wednesday to Sunday.
That's like a Bonnie Blue video.
Yeah, like insane. And, and that might be a niche reference for anyone that's in America, but yeah, it is kind of like that. And I seen people like, and fair play to them because they'd done it, but like people that were signing up for one with like 6 weeks to train, they got a ticket and then they were putting, like, they were coming into the gym like, "Oh, I'm doing high rocks." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know that you trained like that." "Oh, I don't. I'm just starting to run now." And I'm like, "Oh God." And I was seeing like, and then they post up that they finished it, but you ask, "Oh, how did you get on?" Yeah, I'm really happy with how I got on, but no mention of their time. But if you go and look it up, it was like, some of them were like close to 3-hour finishes, and finishing in an hour is bad. So I can't imagine feeling that shit for that length of time. Can you imagine prolonging it another 2 hours? How you were feeling?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. Yeah, I think I was thinking more of the people that go to my gym, because we're going to do Thursday workouts that are going to at least have, you know, 2 to 5K in the, you know, in the workout, and they're going to do that every week and they're used to it. So I think from them, they could ramp up in 4 to 6 weeks. But yeah, if you're coming from cold turkey, you're a power lifter and you're like, "Oh, this is cool." I ran a 9-minute mile last year. Like,
yeah.
That's what I was when I signed up for mine.
So, all right. So, do you think there's an arrogance about CrossFitters that think they can do everything?
For sure.
So, do you think a lot of CrossFitters, and this is me genuinely asking, I don't know the answer to this, do you think a lot of CrossFitters sign up for High Roxes and get completely fucking mugged off at the High Rocks events?
Yeah, compared if by some little 125-pound guy,
I've seen it, but I've also seen high rockers, the CrossFitters that I know sign up and do very, very well. But I have seen one sign up.
Yeah, the elites, but they're doing, but also the elites are doing long runs
doing the volume
several times a week. They're doing long machine workouts multiple times a week. So You're right. They're gonna do well. Like Sprague, that's a hell of a time. A 103 something.
Yeah, for his very first one, like that's mad. Like
That is very good.
So here's a question then. So you two have done them. So this is from ignorance and on behalf of everyone like that hasn't done one as a CrossFitter. If I train 4 times a week at the moment, and I maybe run one of those every week, maybe running every other week in a workout, do I need to take away those CrossFit sessions and instead replace them with running? If I can only come 4 hours a week to the train 4 hours a week, or do I completely replace them with running, or do I have a hybrid approach? What would is a blanket answer to someone that comes 4 hours a week, can only train 4 hours a week, and they want to do a high rocks? They've been doing CrossFit a couple of years. What would the one change be?
Maybe 2 CrossFit classes and 2 running sessions. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that would be the balance, in my opinion. Maybe 2 hour-long runs and 2 hour-long CrossFit classes. Maybe. But when you say CrossFit, it's like, what is that? Could be that's a massive umbrella. What did you do those days?
I would say one of those sessions at least needs to be like a zone 2 run in the time that you want to finish. So if you think, right, I want to run an 80-minute high rocks, it's like, cool, well, one of those sessions need to be zone 2, just 80 minutes, like run. So like you need to be able to like hold that for 80 minutes. That was directly from James Kelly. I did my first kind of jump in and bought one of his programs to begin with, and every week they start with your ideal finish time is what you then run. So like if you first start, if you're like, oh, I want to complete it in 2 hours, it's like, cool, you better be able to run for 2 hours.
And that sounds insane to most like a CrossFitter. You mean
they're going to be like, oh, no, because it's just 8K, but it's like, no, it's not just 8K.
No, and just and looking at mine, I think it's basically just in the Roxzone area is probably a whole 1 more K, so it's closer to 9K. Not to mention the time of all the stations.
We had Nigel on. He's 5 times worlds, and all his clients, and I know he does it himself because I've spoken to him. Any interval runs that you're doing, it's always 1,200 meters because he doesn't want you thinking that like, oh, it's just 8K running, because then every time you get in that in arch, you're like, you're fucked, and you've probably got another 100 meters to go, and then you've got another 100 meters to get back to where you're going, and it's always 1,200s.
Right.
Could you do too much running as prep?
If you neglect strength work,
you can do as much as you can recover from.
Yeah.
And that's going to be dependent on age and a million other factors, sleep, nutrition. But yeah, I think running is the most dangerous of all fitness genres.
Yeah.
But you can supplement your running with the bike.
That was part of you're right. You got to that was part of the problem with me trying to ramp up to start. I was limiting my feet and I couldn't handle it. Now I'm finally broke in, but I was trying to ramp up, and because I have my heart can handle it, my cardio can handle it, my infrastructure, feet, like my planters were killed, like my feet were tore up like constantly. So it was like I had to. That was my limiting factor. It wasn't my willingness to run long distance or whatever, but it was like this is causing muscle damage serious in my quads and in my feet, calves, everything was just getting destroyed. So running, you got to be very careful with when you're just trying to go 0 to 100 in a short period of time.
And you've already got a massive base of endurance. You've already got that years of running, whereas you can imagine just like the random guy at the box that maybe does the 400s and the 800s because they're written on the whiteboard that day, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, you need to now go and run for 90 minutes every week. They're going to pick it out, and that's what the kind of mistakes I kind of made. I was ramping up, running too quick, and that's when I ran into like the shins being sore, plantar fasciitis. Like that's how I ended up tearing my hamstring because I was doing hill sprints because I was getting ready for longer distance runs, and then I was like, what do I do? My coach like, oh, we can't run anymore. Get on the bike.
Right. You get so excited about this new thing you're training for, and especially if you're doing some CrossFit and stuff, so you're creating muscle damage in other areas too this whole time. And then you're like, well, now I'm just going to add 20 miles a week or whatever. It's like, you better tread lightly.
Yeah.
Literally. Good. No, that's all my questions about High Rocks, because we coach High Rocks. We're a High Rocks affiliate, and I get a lot of people doing High Rockses and coming back. And obviously, I know how to coach and I know how to, lead the people through a session. But just we're getting a lot more people inquiring without any advertisement, walking in the gym wanting to do High Rockses. So it's just interesting to hear about training balance. That's all.
Do you guys have assault runners or anything like that at your gyms?
We don't. No.
That for me helps add some miles. It's just a lot more friendly on knees and feet for me. And also, like Jan was saying, the C2 bike, just spinning the legs. That's probably your best bet when you can't run.
Do you see when you're on the C2 bike and you're trying to mimic runs? Do you watch your RPMs against like what your cadence is from your Garmin?
I guess not. I just hold like I have my RPM range that feels good. I really don't.
I never done it, but someone was talking to me about that recently, and they were saying that I should be really watching like my cadence of my running to try and mimicking it on the bike. And I'm just like, I just.
So I guess like what 180 is like where a run cadence
like
should be. So what is that?
Yeah. So they would be saying to get like your RPMs to 92 basically to try and keep that the legs kind of working at the same thing. And that's kind of what I do anyway.
Yeah, I'm never gonna be like 88 would be the lowest cadence I would ever do. Anything above that feels like I'm trying to do a strength workout. So, and if I'm laying power, it'd be closer to 104 to 5 maybe RPMs. So
what do you have your damper on?
There.
What do you put your damper on the bike?
I put my damper at the level that will allow efficient pace of my RPMs of 88 to 102 at the given power that I'm looking for. So it depends on what power am I looking for and what RPMs am I looking for. The damper is just the gear that'll get me to those two numbers.
Can you
clip? So it depends.
Yeah, that's the answer I was looking for. It depends.
So 3.5 to 4.5 typically, unless you're trying to do some type of standing interval and you want to slap it up to like 10.
Yeah.
We've got one of my lady I work with, Holly. She used to be a sprint cyclist in the UK. She's only 24 now. But she fucking knows how to use a C2 bike. She's the only one in the gym that comes in and fucking uses it to its capacity. And it's mad seeing the difference in her, like what her output, like her RPM on that thing and what she can accomplish with the seat fucking up here, the handles down here, hunched over and fucking giving it guns, right, for like 10 minutes. Her fucking FTP is mental. Like I've got no idea. Like she's just fucking power and just pure sprint. And Jon, she went to the Athex this weekend and they came second. Her and her boyfriend, they just decided to do it. So they just went and did it and they came second in that. Chandler
Smith and Ben. What's his name? Not Ben.
Bjork.
Bjorgvinsson. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah. They won the pro one, didn't they?
Yeah. This is what now?
You'll love this.
You'd probably really like this competition, but there's a local lad here. He's actually third in the pro. So it's Chandler Smith, Goodmanson, and then it's the guy that like is local. He's one of Nigel Levitt's clients, Ross Montgomery. He's sitting third at the top of the pro division.
Basically, Mason, imagine like High Rocks it's in a hall. It's all contained environment in like a massive, massive hall. You work your way round. So you start on a start line like High Rocks. You can do it in solo or pairs. You go through to a warm-up area. Then as a wave, you go through to the strength zone and you do the prescribed strength for that event. And this one, it was both of you have to find a 10 RM strict press, 5 RM back squat. And you get a total between the 4 lifts, so 2 each. You then go through to the next weighting area. You then do the Metcon zone, which was 12 minutes C2 bike, 12-minute run around the arena and swap. So you do one and then you swap. So you have to choose who's going to do bike first, who's going to do that. I think John's bringing
It's
up.
like max distance in 12-minute run.
Yeah, in 24 minutes, basically. You have to obviously one and the other. And then the last one is the fucking chipper. So it's like a I can't remember what's it called? The last one, the endurance zone, and then the whichever the last bit is.
Metcon for a pro this week is 50 calorie row, 40 dual dumbbell thrusters at 22.5 kilos, 30 box jump overs, 20 synchro burpees, 10 sandbag ground to shoulder, 20 synchro burpees, 30 box jumps, 40 thrusters, and then 50 calorie row.
So you're getting basically three workouts done. Is it about 90 minutes all the way through from start to finish?
Yeah. So it starts off like you're in like, so it's the same workouts, Mason, like for the whole season. So it's like they'll travel around like location to location. People enter, but then they've got a year, like they've got the leaderboard. So you might win, but someone else in the next event might beat you. And then at the end of the year, the people that are at the top of the leaderboard get invited down to the finals, basically. And then they change the workouts every season. But yeah, it's like, so like the warm-up's 30 minutes, then you go straight into the strength zone, which is 20 minutes. And then you get a refuel 10 minutes. So basically you go into like a refuel zone where you can like grab electrolytes, like eat if you want. Then it's the endurance workout for 30 minutes. Again, you go into the recovery for 30, and then you go into the last Metcon. So you're there for like the best part of 2 hours, but it's like stationed off, and it's run like clockwork.
Yeah.
Can you do multiple? Like if you feel like you could have done better, could you go back?
You can go and buy tickets, and it's kind of like Hyrox events. So there's upcoming events. There you go. So you could like enter any of these events: Cardiff, Birmingham, Liverpool, and then the finals are in December. So you could keep entering if you wanted to, and you could enter as a pro. You could enter the mixed. You could enter solos.
But and this is always a strength, a cardio, and a Metcon.
Yeah,
broken down into that. Okay.
Yeah. What I like about
it being exactly the same throughout, like so you can really measure.
Yeah. What I love about all this is that there's options for CrossFitters. So during these, right, there's no weightlifting and there's no gymnastics because there's no rigs. So it's just grunt, heavy, and Metcon at the end. So it's another avenue for CrossFitters, so people at affiliates, to express their fitness and have goals go towards. If it was just CrossFit pure events, it'd be a bit dull. I think it's quite a positive thing. We've got all of these options now. Want to test your endurance and how CrossFit can do that for you? Fucking go and do a Hyrox. If you want to see how well you are with power and capacity work without gymnastics, then we've got Affex you can do. There's so many different options now, which is great. It's a great time to be a CrossFitter, from my opinion, because you can go to your gym. The coaches are well versed in a lot of good gyms, quite versed in a lot across the board because they've had to adapt, and you can do so many different things with your fitness now. It's awesome. It's really good.
Look at that. We had Chandler Smith coming over to Glasgow for this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting that it seems like a lot of the CrossFit views Hyrox as a enemy or something. I would see it more as a potential funnel.
Exactly.
For more people.
Well, we've been saying that on this show for months. It's like literally like utilize it to get people in the door.
Right, because you're doing 8 of the stations are CrossFit movements, and here's your first intro. It's not intimidating. We're not, and then maybe they do see somebody doing some dumbbell clean and jerks or snatches, and they start dipping their toe into that, into even more of the lifting and functional fitness.
And if they don't, they carry on coming to your gym and paying money for your Hyrox membership.
Exactly.
Right. All I see is a win.
If you look at the majority, I would say, of the high level Hyrox like programming, It just looks like CrossFit anyway, minus like handstands, minus maybe snatching, but they're all cleaning. They're all doing it. They're all doing everything else.
Do you follow Rich Ryan?
Yeah.
So I saw some video that he posted recently or I guess it might have been, I think it was 8 months back. So it might've been from the end of last season, but, the post, it was about him going from a 58 to maybe a high 53 or 54 or something.
Yeah.
And he said that what he had done was really add in a lot of CrossFit movements, basic, like dumbbell snatches, a lot of this type stuff. And I just thought it was really interesting that and it might just be our bubble that sees it more as an enemy. And I'm like, no, these guys are they're like saying, no, I'm using CrossFit for they're actually advertising for, the use of CrossFit and talking about how he brought his time down, adding CrossFit in and all this.
James Kelly's coach is a L3.
James
Kelly is coached by an affiliate owner. Like,
don't you guys find that sort of interesting? Like this, like the CrossFit views High Rocks as an enemy, but High Rocks is like, no, CrossFit is our friend, and we want to. I don't know. Seems interesting.
The irony is is that affiliates are after like advertising and people to help get 30 million CrossFitters and everything like that. Fucking High Rocks are doing it for them. High Rocks would come in and go, come to High Rocks. Oh, we don't actually have established gyms. Okay, we're going to set up this affiliate model. Who are pretty much the only places that are going to take on a High Rocks affiliation and set up for it? The CrossFit gyms and the affiliates. Right, they're taking it on. We're going to send loads of new clients to your fucking gym, and yet people see it as a bad thing.
And I know
seems like an obvious collaboration.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't have like education surrounding it. They do, but it's like probably about $500 to do the High Rocks course. It's basically just like fundamentals of the race.
Have you seen that Red Bull thing?
A bad thing to have if you're going to coach it. And then it's like $1,200 for the year to affiliate.
Have you seen that Red Bull coaching thing?
No, I don't.
You can apply for it. There's I'll pull it up. Hang on, mate. Both of you should apply for this.
I did. I used to have the Nike coach.
Hang on.
One. So they don't do it anymore, and they used to do it for L1s as well.
So there's this coaches camp. It's by invitation only. So you apply, and they're picking. It's like 60 or 66, something like that. 60 of the applicants to join them at Silverstone. Silverstone's like the F1 circuit. Yeah. So 60 global fitness coaches worldwide, right? You apply and they will bring you there. So they'll fly you out from fucking wherever. You just got to apply. This camp is like a full immersive. They want the best coaches on earth to come and train with the Red Bull High Rocks coaches fucking camp to come and become like elite coaches. It's almost as if they're recruiting for like their seminar staff sort of thing.
That looks badass.
It looks amazing. There's a lot of yeah. So it's event. If you go to redbull.com and then it's there in their events section, just Google Red Bull High Rocks.
I just Googled Red Bull coach and it came up.
Yeah, fucking get on that because they want the best of the best. And if you apply and you get it, that is going to be like a fucking once in a lifetime opportunity there.
Yeah.
Mason Standy's asked a question. I don't know if she's still here, but has the shape of your back hunched at all from biking?
No, that's cyclists don't do anything other than as long as you do things that pull your back into position, like weekly, heavy, upright rows and overhead strict presses. When you see that from all the cyclists, they're probably tens of thousands of hours into that position with zero corrective exercises. So yeah.
Speaking of that, do you think there's anything that like recreational, because not the pros are like well coached, and as you say, the power they're putting out at like 140 pounds is insane, but do you think the recreational cyclists try to mimic what the pros do, and do you think there's anything missing from what like their training looks like? Do you think they're missing out on like performance because they don't include enough strength training, their fueling, and anything that you think's missing from recreational riders?
Yeah, every cyclist that I ride with that only does cycling, it's like they could get so much more out of cycling by cutting 2 days a week out of cycling and doing some functional fitness type stuff. It was the best case study in this sort of is these guys, you know, they've been doing it for years, and here talking about locally. And then Brandon Luckett, he gets a new bike. He don't know how to shift right. He don't know how to do anything. And then he leaves a good portion of them with zero bike training. He's too heavy to be a bike rider. He's, doesn't hardly know how to shift, doesn't know how to draft, doesn't know how to, pace for long distance, for several hour bike. And it's sort of like, that's it. I don't know, but yeah, it's obvious that, yeah, being just more well-rounded, they would all do better if they was just doing squats and stuff like that. But, for them, they think that they are closer, they should be doing the training that maybe some top cyclists do, which you'll find that most top cyclists now are going to be doing CrossFit style training. Netflix had the Unchained.
That's a different show.
The Unchained series the past couple years. And anyway, you'll see a lot of their training. They're in CrossFit gyms now doing, and it's but a lot of these cyclists have been doing it 20 years. They already got it figured out, and this is newer stuff. So if like they're working strength, they're like, well, you would never get to a full depth squat on a cycling stroke. So why should I worry about anything more than the, top range of motion, and do a partial squat? I'm never going to be pushing from that range, but they're ignoring the overall benefits of joints and mobility and all that from doing full depth squats and all this, and overall health. And inevitably, like Standy said, all of them that don't do it are going to have back and neck problems. It's a win. I mean, this all coming for all of them. Yeah. And I have like an 80-year-old that's just like insane cardio because he's been riding bikes for 30 years, but it's like everything else is just shit. And it's like everything's so locked up. And it's just, a little late for him.
Yeah, it's mad. A lady that comes to my recreational classes for powerlifting, all I do is cycle SBD, squat bench dead, on a 2-week cycle. I just go da-da-da. She's been doing it for 2 years. She's early 60s triathlete, and she's the last 6 months she has been leaving people for dust on the uphill. A lot of it is cross country running, the portion. And she's just uphill. She's just fucking leaving people. And the only thing she has changed, quite literally, she's put on 3 kilos in the last 2 years, which she was really worrying about. But then she's going on these rides and she's just absolutely smoking people. And she's like at early 60s, she's leaving like 40-year-olds for dust on the up in the sprints. It's like, she's like, let's do more of this.
What's her takeaway? Like, so what does she say? Like, so she obviously sees the benefits of it now. Like, what is she like? Is she trying to preach now to other people? Like, you got to do this.
Yeah. She helps run the triathlon on the island, and she's trying her best to get more people to lift. But unfortunately, a lot of them work in the daytime. So it's like they need to find the time in the evenings. And then, as you know, any endurance sport, if you're working full-time jobs, trying to find the time or convince people to swap some of their time, on speciality stuff, to come away from that. Like, we had a lady called Sarah Webster, who's like in the GB Ultra Squad now. Like, she's 40, I think she's mid-40s, 45, 46. She's like she's a European #1 now, and she's got the 3rd quickest ever 100K time for a female of all time, 7:03. But she went from doing 100, I think she was doing 110 miles a week running, to 90. But the 25 miles that she left out, she put towards the gym work and the strength training. And she fucking PB'd. She got quicker. Her recovery time got better. She was sleeping deeper. Her nutrition nailed. And it was all from sacrificing a bit of the road time and actually putting weight into the gym. And she's now like preaching to everyone. And it's amazing as someone at her, I'm only a few years behind her, so it's not bad. At her age, being able to do one thing different to her training, sacrifice what people traditionally would think was a no-no, and then being able to demonstrate with actual objective proof that it works is just insane. So on the island especially, you've got this new wave of people actually wanting to do weight training and use weights to help assist. So I'm in a position where I'm like, fuck, how do I accommodate all this? So it's like trying to get gym time for these sports is going to be tough, but it's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're
a dedicated group for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could probably. You're right. You're all like-minded.
Like team strength for this, like people that are out on the road bikes.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to convince. Also, you're convincing these people to gain weight,
Mm-hmm.
and then that in itself is like, oh, you want me to come lift weights and add weight? Like everything is watts per kilo and this and that. But because that's what it is in pro cycling, they think that they're going up to 21 days in the Alps and through the Pyrenees and at 25-30% gradients. I'm like, that's not you. Like, chill out. You'll be fine if you gain 5 to 10 pounds. It's not. You're actually going to be much stronger.
Well, that was like, remember when I first started on the bike, and this isn't to speak ill of anyone, but remember I was saying, oh, my people that were programming my workouts were telling me to hit certain wattage, and you were like, that's insane that they would expect you to be hitting that, because it was based off my body weight. And you're like, anyone that's over 10% body fat should not be aiming for wattage. Like, not that, because it's annotated. And they were like, oh, if you can't hit that, just get as close to it as possible. And I was like, there's no way I'm holding 400 odd watts. That's
that's becoming dated now. They're realizing like you're better off being heavier and having more power. Unless you're going into like the high mountains, which who the hell, like that's a very like top tier cyclist.
That's like, well, I obviously reached out to you when I took on a client, because he's obviously been road biking for about a decade, but his times were getting, he's like in his 50s, but his times were getting worse every year, like on different events that he was doing. And in the space of 6 months, he'd lost a substantial amount of body fat, but we actually took 2 biking days out of his week, and he was in the gym with me 2 days. So he lost body fat, but not only that, he ended up getting his second fastest time on like this event. It's called the ETAP. It happens once a year. So his first fastest time was obviously when he was like 1 year into biking. Then it was like 9 years prior. And then he'd decline for like 7 years. And then the first like 6 months after, he'd ended up just about like PB in it, but it was his second fastest time. And the year before he came on, he wanted to do a summer solstice cycle of getting 500 kilometers in a day. And he got like 400 and something in and like bonked. Whereas he was with me for the year, and then just past, he managed to hit the 500 kilometers in a year. And it's like, we weren't doing anything different with cycling. Obviously, it was just nutritional changes, but he was doing all the strength training, like the relevant stuff, core work, like working on the tibia, working on his knees, like just doing all that stuff that people would be like, how's that going to benefit my cycling? And
it's sort of like you got to tell like just trust me, which is a hard ask, but it's like,
especially because you're going to gain a little bit of
you're going to gain a little bit of weight.
Hello, bye.
Oh, here we go. What's up, Donnie?
Hello.
Mason cycles. Look, his bike behind.
Yeah,
he's a well good cyclist. Does proper road biking and everything. We're just saying that you were doing good cycling. Yeah, good. Thanks for your contribution.
Next race?
6 days.
Is it? No, it's Tuesday, isn't it? It's Tuesday. It's Sunday today, isn't it? So you got 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can do well. Yeah. Did you enjoy it the other day? Yeah, you're gonna weave.
Mummy said for me to not to.
Well, I'll tell you what. Don't listen to Mummy. Listen
to
Mason.
Are you gonna win this year?
Probably.
You will, won't you? But Mummy said not to weave and go in and out of people on the track. What do you think, Mason? Do you think?
Nah, you can definitely do that.
Hey,
All right.
if you elbows out, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's NASCAR? Bumpins Racing.
Yeah.
Right, say bye.
Bye.
Right, off you go.
No.
I'll come see you in a minute.
Baby.
Tony. See you later.
Why
Shut
are
the
you
door on
still
the
on
way
the call?
because I'm out.
Why?
Out. Shut the door behind you.
Last but not least, because I know we've been talking about clients. Like I was just talking about another client there, but obviously you're a coach as well, Mason. What makes like an ideal client? We mean, when were we talking about that? A few days ago, we were talking about. I was actually talking about a really traumatic.
Oh,
I'm not going to talk about it on here, but I was talking about a really traumatic experience where I had I don't want to go into it too much, but I had a really, really long phone call with somebody that I was just saying to Jake, I don't know if I've got the time.
Hello, Mr. Young. Can I work with you?
And then he was like talking about like, oh, because that could be a real nightmare for you. And I was like, yeah. And then we were talking about the ideal client. And I was like, I've actually got a video in my education hub called how to be a 5-star client. Basically, like, here's all the things. If you want to get on really well, if you want to get results, if you want to have a good time, like in the service, this is how you do it. And then we thought like, oh, this would be a good topic to come up with you because you coach people remotely and you've obviously got a gym. So what do you, because as much as people think that they can just come on, like they think when they phone you, like it's like they're employing you, but you're taking them on as much as they're taking you on. And it's like, it's quite easy now when you get yourself established to be like, I don't want to work with that person.
Yeah.
So like,
especially like if you're a good coach and like you can't help it, you're gonna care. And it's like when you care and they don't give a shit, it like just and you're trying to pour everything into it. That's tough. But yeah, obviously listen, but just I think really it just if you'll be consistent and give consistent and listen, like that's really that simple. I think but it's got to be consistency and nothing. There's gonna be no miracle work. It's gonna take a couple months of consistent work, and then just trust. I guess listen and just. But I guess that if you're listening, that means they trust you.
Some of mine are like that you communicate openly. Like that's like my biggest thing is communication. I've got like the three. I call them the golden rules, or not the 3 golden rules. It's like be quick to ask, be quick to implement, and be quick to share. Like is what I tell people. Like so, if you need help, be quick to ask for it. If you then get advice, be quick to implement it, and then like actually share like what is happening. Like, did that work? Did it not work? Is there things happening in your life that I need to know about? Tell me how training. Like, you know, I need the feedback. So if you're not doing those 3 things, then I don't think people are going to get anywhere. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think with and on the if it's remote for specifically remote, like the feedback, I can only coach as good as the feedback. You can. I mean, I don't. Yeah. If I don't know what the hell you're doing, if I don't know, it's like I can't. I mean,
you need the data.
At that point, I'm just writing a plan, and then I'm imagining what it's going to look like and what you're going to do and how you're going to move.
You're throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks.
Right.
So, with the greatest of respect, and this is one thing that Jon and I were both talking about, because I had a not quite as traumatic, but I had a similar experience on yesterday morning.
Oh yeah.
It's try and be aware that as a coach or a personal trainer, your time is your asset. So we're a service provider. We're not a goods provider. So our time is what we can give you. Our money is our time. And that sounds good. If I am on the phone to you talking, or I'm stood around, I'll come on to one in a minute. If I'm stood around and you take up an hour of my time, that is X amount of money that you've potentially cost me just by, and this is the important bit, wasting my time. I hate time wasters. and that might be a little bit of my neuroses, but if you want to ask me a question, fucking listen to the answer. Don't walk off, or don't let me give you an answer and then just not do it. Like,
That's
you've
why
got to be,
one of mine is like, be quick to implement. Like,
yeah, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And the Nike slogan, just do it. As I've got older, right, it's always been there. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Boring. I've heard it a million times. But fuck me, the last couple of years, it's made perfect sense. It's not just do it. It's just do it.
Mhm.
That is the big fucking thing. And it's always been there. It's just hanging around in the background. It's amazing.
My coach is he's a massive fan of like, do what you said you would do. Like, if you like, because we sit down and have like conversations with, I'm sure you probably do it as well. You have conversations with people and you make the plan based around on their life, their like, you know, like what they can fit in, what they can realistically do. And then nutritional wise, you know, like all this kind of, I don't know if you like cover nutrition, but I do. And like we base it on them, their life. We gather all this information to make it fit them. So if you're going to commit to doing something, actually like just do the thing. You know what I mean? And if you can't communicate it, there we go. Mason, what's your biggest challenge with your remote clients? And what advice to other coaches?
I think it's just staying available and timeliness of correspondence back and forth. I think to be a good remote coach, you have to be available, number one. And I think that's hard for a lot of people. Just, I mean, if you got several kids, wife at home, you're maybe on different time schedules or different times if it's somebody's 6-hour time difference from you. So I think it's just maybe some people to be the best at a remote coaching. I think it's just being, like you said, the timeliness of the feedback. It really needs to be like a daily correspondence back and forth, in my opinion. So if you're like, I'm just going to send a blanket plan, we'll write you a plan every week, and I'm going to check back in at the end of the week, and you're going to tell me what's like, you could really probably just follow a program and get pretty similar.
And get the same thing, yeah.
So I think that's the value in a remote coach. Like, all right, I know, like, say for like SEMA or something like that, it's going to be like there's somebody that travels all the time. Okay, what hours are you going to have? What machines or what type of atmosphere are you going to have access to? How are you feeling day to day? How it's just all those little nuances, and that's what makes it. That's the value for any remote coach or coaches doing remote.
So on that note, this is exactly why you can only have a limited amount of clients at any given point as a in-depth good coach remotely.
Anytime I see somebody with like 30 remote clients, it's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, you have them, but you're not like, there's no way you could keep up with that. Like,
you don't have enough time in the day.
I'm telling you, it's stressful.
Yeah.
I see a lot of mine in person, but I do a lot for them online.
Yeah, if it's in person, that cuts down. Like, I have some people I help, but they come in, like you said, and see me once a week. Well, that changes everything. But I'm saying if I never get to see you, and I'm writing and basically an individualized workout every day for you. And I'm looking at your videos every day to see what you did and taking into consideration, we did this today. All right, that's probably sore. All right, tomorrow you're going to be somewhere where you're not going to have access to everything. All right, what makes the most sense? Also, how do I keep you engaged and keep this entertaining where it's not just – there's so many considerations when you're doing that. And if you're given all those considerations, there's going to be a limited number of clients that you can do all that for.
It's time. You think about per week, how much time you put into one of your clients. It's monumental. And the other thing with that is that if you are a good client, you will expect to pay for them time. Like this is what I said a minute ago. Your time is your asset, is your service, is your time and what you do with that time. If I'm giving you 10 hours a week, but you're only getting 4 hours of programming, I'm still giving you 10 hours a week. Just because you're getting 3 hours in the gym, it doesn't mean that I'm giving you any less than 10 hours. So from my perspective, I can only have 4 or 5 clients at a time because it's way too much for me. Maybe my brain doesn't work as well as other people's, but any more than 5, I go mental. I can't keep up. I overload. I miss the ball with one of them. The session's not uploaded. I don't give feedback. I feel shit. They feel like they've missed out, and I'm not giving them time. So for me, there's this magic kind of balancing act between how much time I'm willing to give them, and then just setting expectations. Again, at the beginning of the relationship, you can be honest and say, "Look, I can give you 3 hours a week of my time, but 2 hours of that is probably going to be doing your programming, an hour of that's going to be feedback, and I can only giving you 3 hours a week." But it's being honest and just communicating. A lot of this is just come down to communication, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think from that, a lot of athletes, for sure, the client might just be that you're just whipping up something and throwing it to it, like, and it's that easy that you can just like, poof, here's a workout every day. But yeah, like I said, you're giving a 1,000 considerations to them, like what they enjoy, what all their ailments are, what the rep ranges are specifically for them, what can they stay moving, how burnout are they, how's their mental going to give up in this workout, and that because they've been trending towards or not sleeping great, or where's their breaking point, what looks like a hard workout versus looks like an easy workout, and how are they going to perceive it?
Like, well, they're buying your knowledge.
They're buying your knowledge. A good coach from just a coach then. Do you know what I mean? Because there's plenty of coaches out there that have got 50 plus clients that are probably getting those clients, like, you know, results. Whereas that gem pop people that might just be looking to lose weight. But when you go into the weeds of things and you're actually trying to get people better, that's, I think, when it really matters.
Well, put it this way: Dan programs for all 5 gyms on the island. There's 700 people that do CrossFit at those gyms. Yeah. Is he programming for 700 people individually? If he charged each of those the same that he would with a blanket program that online coaches do, fucking, he'd be a billionaire. You know, it doesn't translate. You've got to have that additional time and input and feedback loop. From that, it doesn't make sense. But again, going back to the in-person thing, again, I'm very in-person, and the way that I like to do it, rightly or wrongly, when someone comes into the gym or the night before we're training, like if I've got one of my clients, Karen, I see her at 6:30 in the morning. The night before, I'll ask how she's feeling, where she saw from the last session, what she wants to work on, that kind of thing. I can think on the drive in to the gym that morning exactly the program that I'm going to do. I know the rep range, I know the steps, I know everything. But I've only accrued that knowledge and that understanding because of the fucking monumental amount of hours I've put in over the last 15 years. You're paying for my experience and my knowledge. You're not paying for that 1 hour. You're paying for the last 15 years.
That's something I try to explain to people on calls now. It's like, you're not paying for face-to-face time with me. Even when you get face-to-face time, you're not paying for face-to-face time with me. You're paying for the result. So that's everything that goes into that result. Because when I'm not with you in the gym, I'm not just sitting at home playing Xbox. I'm thinking. Sometimes I am, but you know. But I'm thinking about all the stuff that you're doing during the week. I'm thinking about, right, well, if you did this with me in the gym tonight, like tomorrow needs to be an easier day. Then if you've had that day, we're going to do this the next day, because then I know that you've got some clients go up, you know, hill walking on a Saturday. Cool. So I'm not going to have this on a Friday.
Right. What's their schedule like? What's their,
me on the Monday. It's like, that takes time. And as Jake says, not even just the time it takes to sit down and like put it into True Coach or whatever, Wodify or whatever it might be, but it's the time and effort that, like, all the qualifications you've got to go and get, the you know, like all that kind of stuff. And it's
and I think the in-person, that's why the remote's harder, because you gotta if when they come in and it's a one-on-one and I have a workout written out, but I can see in the warm up that these weights or rep range is not going to be appropriate for the day. It's such an easy fix right there.
Yeah.
I think you have to have even, way more consideration when it's just right. And you're not going to get to watch them perform the workout in person. It's like now the notes have to be even more specific and more better. And as opposed to where if I'm just watching you in the workout and you start and it's your first set and I can see this is not going to work, I'm like, all right, we had 12 reps. Let's stop it at 8, and we're just going to keep rolling through this with 8. Or nope, that weight's not appropriate. Let's add or drop 5 pounds on the dumbbell. That's much easier. Where you got to sort of be a little more cautious, more considerate when it's a remote coach that you're not going to see in on time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I personally don't charge differently depending on client, but I've got different services that are charged differently. Although the client that I was speaking to the other day, I was telling Jake that I was going to like massively increase my price just to make it worth my while, but that's not something that I do. No.
No. I had this I don't mind saying because he's never going to watch this. I had this guy turn up to like a public. I do these sessions on a Saturday, like a volunteer thing for public people to come in and kind of try weightlifting at the gym. And there's this guy that's been coming the last few years. Oh, good. We'll hear all about Heidi's date in a minute. He is an elderly gentleman, so he's 73. And he is a very camp gay dude at 73. And he was talking to me, and so we brief, obviously I brief at the whiteboard in this gym that I'm at, and everyone knows distance. There's this like distance thing that if someone's briefing the whiteboard, you're not right on top of them. You give them a little bit of space. This guy stands right next to me, like shoulder to shoulder while I'm briefing this. And then everyone in the class is just smiling because they know what's going on. And then during the session, he finds out that I do personal training and I coach at another gym. And his entire hour, he was fishing to find out where I coached, how much I charge for PT, and like my schedule. And he's trying to find all these questions out. And it was so bad because I just talked to Jon about the guy that he'd talked to for 3 hours on the phone. And this guy at the end of this phone call with Jon, he said something on the lines of, I'm not looking to start yet, but I'd like to start in a couple of months' time. Have you got a program that I can look at that I can follow until we start training together? This is after like a 3-hour conversation. And this is what sort of sparked this whole with me and Jon over the weekend. We were like, what do people need to learn to be a good client for people, like for trainers and coaches, so that they can give you the best service that you're after? Like, what attributes do you need to be a good client? I think one of them is just respect. It's understanding that as a service provider, your time is so damn important,
Right.
Especially in our industry, But yeah, it was quite an interesting conversation.
So, are you going to take him on?
Yeah, he's in my bedroom at the moment, waiting for me. No, I'm not. I told him, like I said to Jon, like I'm at full capacity with my head, with clients and people that I'm kind of working with, because I'm very to my downfall. I think it goes against me. I need to know fucking everything about my client. Like, I need to know what they're having for breakfast. I need to know when their holiday is 6 months in advance. I need to know what time they went to sleep last night. I need to know absolutely everything about them, so that I can get a bigger picture, so that I can program effectively for them or tell them the best advice that I've got. If I don't get it, and if I don't get that, I don't feel like I can do my job properly. So because of that, I can only take on a handful of people at a time, alongside all the classes and alongside family and alongside everything else. But the downside of that is that if I'm only having 5 clients, there's a certain level of maths here. If I'm only taking on 5 people, I have to charge them enough to make this whole career worthwhile. Because if I take on 30 people and I don't give them that full experience, but I charge them half the price, I'm still making a lot more money than if I charge the same amount, but I can only have 5 people on my books. So it's on the proviso that when I take these people on, I need them to understand the level of service that they're going to get. And that's just, it gets proven over time, obviously. But for my head and the way that I work and the way that I think, I cannot have any more than 4 or 5 people like working at one-on-one, one-on-one with the group work. I can walk in, have a look at the whiteboard and fucking coach it any day of the week.
Right. Yeah.
But one-on-one stuff, it takes a lot of my time and energy towards that. So and that's my head. That's not, I'm sure like other people manage it really easily well, and they think clearer and quicker than I do. But
yeah, and I think that's I'm right there with you on that, and maybe some of it that's just my limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know what you were saying for the last few minutes, but I genuinely sit here probably more than 20 hours a week just responding to doing programming, client calls. I do like live video calls with like everyone as a team. We've got different touch points daily. So I speak to all my clients like daily, but then we've got and then I see them in person for the majority. I do have ones that are international and whatnot, but those are the ones see my ones that are like that I'd never see in person. I make sure I'm speaking to them every single day. There we go. What is Mason a coach? Yes.
So Heidi, I'll ask this cryptically. Are you on your own right now? Or are you with someone?
This is embarrassing. I can't open my bottle.
Do you need Hayley to do it?
Here, that's like her bugbear is like I'll tighten everything way too tight, and then she can't unscrew like lids and stuff.
Oh, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, Heidi. We're going to get this offline. I don't think we all want to hear about your date went, but out of 10, in inches, how out of 10 would you rate it? But yeah, anyway, Mason, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This is my first ever podcast, so you guys made it easy.
This was awesome. We could easily get you back on and just shoot the shit about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm game.
Yeah,
awesome. Easy. So what's the plans now? What's the time now? Is it kind of approaching?
Be 3 o'clock now, is it?
Yep.
Is it 3? Mason?
Yep. It was 2:12.
2:12.
Oh, okay. Time for a bike ride then. That's good.
Yeah, get some more time in.
Do you know what Grant? What would Grant say to you right now?
We're not ending this live until this is open. People are going to think I'm struggling.
Good.
The bottle's so slippy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Can you undo the top? The pressure's probably built up. Can you undo the bottle top and then try it? Now try
that's what it is. But you know what? I would drink it from that, but I don't have a straw attached to the top.
We'll try and undo it with it open.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Oh man,
what the fuck is going on? This is like a prank.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Nah, we're gonna have to end it.
We're fine. We're good. You can do it.
Right. Good night.
Right.
all right, guys.